Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the information seminar, From Interest to Profession, Becoming a Nutritionist and a Dietitian. I'm one of the speakers of today's seminar, Gigi So from the Food, Nutrition and Healthcare Subject Group of Hong Kong U Space. Thank you very much for your time joining this information seminar. Today, together with me, we have other speakers, also from the Food and Nutrition team in Hong Kong U Space. Let me first introduce them. On my right-hand side, we have Dr. Wendy Ma, and also Ms. Lillian Yuan. And on my left-hand side, we have Ms. Kemi Yuan. In the seminar today, we will be sharing to you the importance of studying food and nutrition, and also what you can translate the knowledge you learned from us into career development. So let's get started. First, I will pass the time to Lillian to talk about or share with us the importance of studying food and nutrition.
Thank you, Gigi. Food is essential to us, right? I believe most of you come today, or those to join the seminar online, are interested in food and nutrition. What is food and nutrition, and why we need to study food and nutrition? Food and nutrition is a science related to real-life applications, and most importantly, is relevant to every one of us. We need food every day. Without food, we cannot survive. But in addition to survival, if we would like to become healthy, we need to plan ahead our diets. So you can look at the figures. If our diet full of junk food, like fast food, pizza, hot dog, etc., the outcome will be quite different when compared with an adequate balanced diet with adequate veggie and fruits. Have you ever heard of a saying, you are what you eat? So if you have knowledge in food and nutrition, you can help yourself to achieve good health as well as a well-being. So therefore, in addition to this, study food and nutrition, it can also help you to develop your career. Our graduates have a wide range of career options, food science-related, nutrition-related. And this slide shows you normally what do nutritionists do. You can see on the slide like public health nutrition, health promotion, nutrition education, and also work in food industry. So for example, nutritionists can hold some talk or workshop to educate the public. For example, like educate the older adults to lower the sodiums in their diets, as well as to educate the parents as well as their children to increase the veggie intake. Public health nutrition is also a very hot topic nowadays. So nutritionists can also help to play a key role in it, for example, to develop some healthy eating program, as well as involve in policy making. So you can see nutritionists can also work in food industry. Next slide. Show you some of the options of career in the food industry. For example, research and development, quality assurance, quality control, food testing, etc. Nowadays, a company cannot survive with only one product continuously. They need to develop new product based on the market needs. So therefore, they need some people with nutrition background. One of the major reasons is because people nowadays are more health conscious. Therefore, they can apply some nutrition background into it to make some innovative product as well as it is healthy. At the same time, I'm not sure whether every one of you know some food poisoning case recently. In the restaurant, they have some food poisoning case related to the tuna fillet. And they found out that the tuna fillet actually contains high amount of histamine. So if you got some food science and food safety knowledge, then we will also help to see how we can prevent the case, how we can lower the risk of food poisoning. So therefore, with food and nutrition background, nutritionists can also help to do some QA job, QC job, as well as food testing job. So after we talk about so many career options, so one major question is how to become a nutritionist. A qualified nutritionist will normally have a degree in food and nutritional science. So now I pass my time to Wendy to give you more detail.
Okay, thank you, Lillian. So now I want to talk a little bit about our academic programs. As Lillian's highlighted, if you want to become a nutritionist, the first thing you need to do is to get a degree in food and nutrition. here at Onho New Space, we actually offer a BSc Food and Nutrition Extension program, which we offer with Ulster University. So how do you get into this program in order to get that degree in nutrition, which would enable you to get the degree? Well, the entry requirement really depends on what your academic background is. Don't be too scared. This table looks very complex, but really what it does is it actually divides up. So, for example, if you already hold a high diploma in food and nutritional sciences, then you already meet the requirement to go into the BSc program here at Hong Kong U Space. However, if you have a degree that maybe is in biological sciences, you may need to complete a couple of advanced certificate programs and also be able to gain entry. Or if you have a degree, but in totally unrelated area, not in science. So, for example, it could be in accounting or arts or something like that, and you really want to have a career change perhaps, or you really want to learn more about nutrition, then you can complete 4 advanced certificate programs to gain entry. And finally, if you say, oh, I don't even have a degree, what's the outline for me? If you are a HKCE holder with 5 years experience or a DSc holder with 4 years experience, you can complete even more, because you think about it, if you don't have a degree, obviously you need to do more courses to make up for the fact that you don't have a degree. You can gain entry into the BSc program. So now I would like to share with you each of those advanced certificate programs that we offer. The advantage of the advanced certificate programs is they're all standalone, so you can choose to do them as you want, and you can choose them and then have a break and then do the next one. So that's the advantage of learning with us. So the first course I want to share with you is our Advanced Certificate in Nutrition. This is actually by far our most popular program, and it's actually the program that we'd encourage people who have an interest in food and nutrition, are thinking about a career, but not absolutely sure yet. This is the good place to start. Because with the Advanced Certificate in Nutrition program, we actually cover 3 modules. In the first module, we talk about basic principles of food and nutrition. And so basically, we talk about nutrients. We talk about fats, proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals. We talk about why we need them, how much we need them, what happens if we get too much, and what foods are the sources for them. In the second module, we apply that a little bit, and we do applied nutrition. And in this module, we will do things like what we call life cycle nutrition. So then we will take what the nutrient needs are from pregnancy, infancy, childhood, adulthood to elderly. And we'll also cover some other interesting topics. For example, the relationship between food and mood. And we'll talk about exercise nutrition. And nowadays, everybody's very popular to talk about vegetarianism. And so we'll cover topics such as that in the second module. And in the third module, we'll talk about food microbiology and food safety. So this module covers about food microbes. Some of them can be useful for our health. Some of them are not so good. And we'll also talk about food safety. Because there's no point knowing about all the different kinds of foods that you need to eat if you can't actually achieve them in a safe way. So you can do this course. It's the most popular course, and you can start there. If you think that's really interesting and you want to further your study, you have 2 options. You can go on, and if your interest is in child nutrition, you can go and do an advanced certificate in child and adolescent nutrition. And after you've completed that, you can get an advanced diploma in child and adolescent nutrition. Or if your interest is in the clinical area, okay, or interested in health promotion, you can choose to do the advanced certificate in clinical nutrition and health promotion and get an advanced diploma in nutrition. So these are the first 3 programs that we offer. The next program I want to introduce is the Advanced Certificate in Sport and Exercise Nutrition. So if your interest is in sport, okay, there are lots of people who are thinking about sports these days, then you can consider to do this program. Once again, this program comprises of 3 modules. If you've already done the Advanced Certificate in Nutrition program, the first program I mentioned to you, then you can actually get exemption from the first module. And in this program, we'll talk about what the nutritional requirements are for sports and exercise and how you need to achieve that. Because when you're doing sport and exercise, different sports have different nutritional needs. So what are somebody, for example, a gymnast, the requirement for nutrition would be quite different to, say, somebody who's a marathon runner. Yeah, so we will talk you about all the different sports, all the different nutritional needs, and all the associated things with that. So if you're interested in sport, you can consider this program. If you're interested in food, okay, so there's a lot of people out there who are interested in food because we talk about food nutrition. We actually offer 2 programs, the Advanced Certificate in Quality Control and Food Safety Management, and the Advanced Certificate in Food Safety Management. So this course is giving you the food knowledge and the food management knowledge to back up any nutrition. So in the Advanced Quality and Food Service Management Program. This program has actually been recognised by the Food and Environmental Health Department as a hygiene manager training course. So we quite often have students who perhaps are interested in setting up their own food business, restaurant, okay, and so by law you need to have a hygiene manager certificate, and so if you do this program you actually get that as well. And then the second part is the food service management, which we talk about all the different systems in quality control of foods. So if you're interested in food, you can consider doing these 2 programs. All the programs I've just mentioned above, we try to make the way that we deliver the program as interactive and interesting as possible. So we do arrange various site visits and class activities. So for example, in the Advanced Certificate in Nutrition, one of your sessions will be actually going to the computer lab where you actually do a computer analysis of your own diet. So we're trying to get the practical aspect of it. We have at Hong Kong Space, we have our own dietetic clinic, and we take you down there and we get you to get some practice in doing certain aspects of what you've learned to get to apply them a little bit. Where possible, we also try to arrange site visits to various places. Obviously, it's been a little bit difficult lately because of the COVID situation, but hopefully where possible and the restrictions are lifted, we'll be doing more of those as well. So, for example, these are just some pictures of the more recent advanced diploma students going to look at the food industry. Okay, now I'm going to pass it over to Gigi, who's going to share with you the next couple of advanced certificate courses.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. So Wendy has just shared with us some advanced certificate programs that cover the fundamental knowledge in food and nutrition. And as mentioned before, as a nutritionist, you actually need to know the food and nutritional science. And that's why I'm going to introduce to you 2 advanced certificate programs that cover the scientific principles behind food and nutrition. So the first one is Advanced Certificates in Food Science, and this program covers the various aspects of science behind food, including the relation between food microorganisms and food in the food microbiology part. And we also covers the chemical and analytical aspect of food. And also we have the principles behind the food processing and preservation techniques. So after studying this program, you will have a comprehensive knowledge about the science behind the food. And then the next more science-based program is the Advanced Certificate in Human Biochemistry and Physiology program. As a nutritionist, we must know the science behind how the food, after we intake the food, how they are metabolized or how the fate of the food in our body. So in this Human Biochemistry and Physiology program, students learn about the functions of the body systems and then how the food is digested inside our body. And in these 2 scientific programs, Advanced Certificates in Food Science and also the Human Biochemistry and Physiology program, as I mentioned, because they are more science-based, so on top of lectures and tutorials, we also have many laboratory practicals for students to apply what they have learned in the lectures into food experiments into real practice. So that differentiates these 2 advanced certificate programs from the other advanced certificate programs that we offer. They are more science-based. So me and Wendy have just go through all the advanced certificate programs in food and nutrition that offered in Hong Kong U Space. And then we come to this very complicated pathway again. I would highlight here that the BSc Food and Nutrition program offered in Hong Kong U Space is an extension program, which means that this is actually a top-up degree, and it is equivalent to the final year of study of a degree. And that's why we require students without relevant background to take the bridging courses, to take the advanced certificates programs. So you can regard the studying of the advanced certificates programs as your year 1 and year 2 study of the degree. And then after completing the advanced certificates programs, you can then get into the final year of the BSc Food and Nutrition program. Then I will talk more about this BSc Food and Nutrition program. As mentioned by Brandy before, the BSc program is offered in collaboration with Ulster University. Some of you may not be very familiar with this Ulster University, so let me have a quick introduction here. So our partner university, Ulster, is located in Loughton Island in the United Kingdom. And actually, we have been partnering with Ulster University to offer nutrition and dietetics program since 1996. So actually, our partnership with Ulster have been more than nearly 26 years. And the reason why we keep partnering with Ulster to offer nutrition and dietetics program in Hong Kong U Space is definitely because of the high academic standings of this Ulster University. So some figures for your reference. So according to the Guardian in 2020, Ulster was ranked top 10 in UK for biosciences, and nutrition is one of the subjects under biosciences. And then according to the Times in 2020, Ulster was ranked also top 10 in food science in UK. And according to the Guardian in 2019, the nutrition in Ulster was ranked top 5. So these figures support that the Ulster University, especially in the subject area of nutrition and dietetics, they have high academic standings. And that's why we are partnering with Ulster to offer nutrition and dietetics program in Hong Kong. So let's talk about the BSc Food and Nutrition program offered in Hong Kong U Space. And here we offer the BSc program in both the part-time and full-time mode. So students who are interested to get into this BSc program can, according to your own work schedules and also time arrangement, to join either the part-time or the full-time mode of the degree program. No matter whether students join the part-time or full-time mode, the structure would be the same. So you will be studying exactly the same content in either of the study mode. The major difference between part-time and full-time is the duration of study. You will need 2 years to complete the part-time BSc study and 18 months, 1.5 years for completing the full-time program. And for the class time, there are also some difference because for the part-time provisions, most of the students have daytime job. So our class or our lectures are usually arranged in the evening time. So they can come to study with us after their daytime work. And then for the full-time program, because students study full-time, so they can come in the, so most of the classes are arranged in the daytime. And then what are you going to study if you join the BSc program? So shown on the slide is the curriculum. As mentioned before, no matter you join full-time or part-time, you will be studying on the same content. So, and the whole BSc program in Hong Kong U Space consists of 3 different teaching blocks or 3 semesters. In the first semester, you will learn the basics. You will learn the fundamentals of food and nutrition. After learning the basics, then you move into second and third teaching block to learn about more in-depth knowledge in food and nutritional science. And most importantly, the application of all this knowledge. Say, for example, in teaching block 1, you learn about the basic microbiology knowledge. And then in teaching block 2, you learn the more in-depth knowledge and also the application of this microbiology knowledge in the food safety management module. And some special feature of this BSc program is that we invite speakers both from Hong Kong and also from overseas. And all these speakers are including medical practitioners, dietitians, nutritionists, and also academic staff from the university. And the inclusion or combination of both Hong Kong and overseas speakers enables students to learn from the local and global perspective of the knowledge. So that's the sharing about the BSc program. If you have any questions related to this program, you can ask more in the Q&A section. I will then pass the time to Cami to share about the postgraduate study in Hong Kong U space.
Thanks, Gigi. So, as Gigi has talked about the degree in food and nutrition, and actually postgraduates, also graduates can pursue further postgraduate study options with the subjects of their interest. For example, Hong Kong U Space offers postgraduate certificate in community nutrition and also collaborates with Alton University to offer Master of Science in Sport and Exercise Nutrition and Master of Science or postgraduate diploma in human nutrition or dietetics to become a registered dietitian. If you are interested in community nutrition, because most degrees do not have sufficient practical training in community setting, so postgraduate certificate in community nutrition, this program provides supervised practicum in a range of community settings, such as community center, elderly center, or private clinics. And graduates, after studying this program, are able to apply for positions such as community health practitioner and also nutrition health program in a range of working sites, such as non-governmental organizations and also private clinics. If you're a sports enthusiast, because Olympics game very hot now, and athletes in Hong Kong and also all over the world doing so well. And you can consider to study Master of Science in Sport and Exercise Nutrition, because nutrition is important to improve athletic performance. It is a 2-year part-time program with a flexible blended learning mode, which would be combining online learning lectures and also supplemented with face-to-face tutorials, which will include some local elements. And this program will provide appropriate academic training in sport and exercise nutrition to allow graduates to have further mentored work experience in the field, and also they can pursue registration as a sport and exercise nutritionist, SENR, in the UK. So SENR is a quality mark for those who work in sport and exercise nutrition in the UK, and it is now administered by British Dietetic Association. I will now pass the time to Wendy.
Okay, thank you, Cami. So far, what we've done is we've talked about what nutritionists do. We've talked a little bit about what you need to study to become a nutritionist. So what I want to do now is to talk about the next step. So what I want to talk about is what dietitians do. So actually, to become a dietitian, you need a degree in food and nutrition. Okay, it's the entry requirement. So if you think about it, all the things that a nutritionist can do, a dietitian can do too, because we already hold degrees in food and nutrition. Make sense? Okay, so but on top of that, why do we need further study? Well, we need further study because dietitians, on top of what nutritionists already do, we do them too, we actually conduct what we call medical nutrition therapy. In other words, what that means is we provide tailor-made, individualized advice to patients or people who have health issues. So what we do is we actually make a nutritional assessment, and we do that as an individual. So we take into account people's different needs. For example, not just their body weight or their body composition, but we also take into consideration, for example, their clinical condition. What are the diagnoses that they have? Do they have diabetes? Do they have something wrong with their kidney? Are they suffering from cancers? And we also take into consideration their blood levels. Okay, so we look at what we call biochemistry. So we looked at the degree of severity, and also we use that to calculate what the patient's nutrition needs are, and then actually make some nutritional diagnosis. Then once we do that, we actually design an intervention. Interventions can be anything from actually just education, because for some people, they just don't know what to eat. For example, if you've got diabetes, you're newly diagnosed, maybe we just give you an education, teach you what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat, and give you a meal plan and explain it. But it may be even more further on if, for example, you've got a swallowing difficulty and you're not able to swallow, you might need to require tube feeding. Well, dietitians actually arrange the tube feeding as well. And if your gut's not working at all, we actually can use what we call parenteral nutrition, which is actually providing nutrition through the vein. Okay, so dietitians do a lot of range of things, not just give advice, but actually look at the more clinical side. Okay, so that's one of the differences between what a dietitian does as opposed to a nutritionist. And as you'll hear in a minute, when you see the study, you'll understand why. And obviously what we do also is we actually monitor and evaluate what we do. So how do you become a dietitian in Hong Kong? Well, obviously the most important thing is that you have to have a degree in food and nutrition. Here at Hong Kong U Space, we offer the postgraduate diploma in human nutrition and the Master of Science in Human Nutrition, which we offer with the University of Ulster in the UK, so the university that Gigi's just shared with us about, to offer this program. So basically, all students, if you want to become a dietitian, have to start by trying to get into the PGD in human nutrition first. Okay, so you can either have a degree in food and nutrition from us at Hong Kong U Space, but it also can be from other places. So, for example, if you've got a degree in food and nutrition from Hong Kong U, Chinese U, or overseas universities, because quite often we have overseas graduates come back, you can apply for direct entry into the postgraduate diploma in human nutrition. If you have a degree holder in life sciences, so for example, you have a BSc in biology, then you can complete some bridging courses. So that's going to be individualized, so you'll have to let us know what you've done, and also be able to gain entry into the PGD in human nutrition. So to become a dietitian in Hong Kong to study it, you have to do the PGD in human nutrition as your first step. I also want to mention the fact that actually Hong Kong U Space at the moment is currently the only place that offers dietetic training in Hong Kong. So as you can see from the diagram here, what you will do is you need to apply for entry into the PGD in human nutrition. This program is actually comprising of 7 modules, which is offered part-time. So you don't have to give up your job, you can continue to work. You do the 7 modules and you finish the PGD in human nutrition. So if you decide that's all you want to do, you can choose to exit at that point. However, if you find that you're really interested, you can continue on and apply to be selected into the PGD in dietetics, which is sort of the second phase of the program. The second phase of the program, however, requires you to study full-time, because the major component of the second year of study is the clinical placement, 28 weeks in hospital authority hospitals. Okay, so you need to quit your job for the second year. And then if you've completed that successfully, you'll be awarded a PGD in dietetics, which you can see from the orange box there. If you get a PGD in dietetics, that qualifies you to work as a dietitian in Hong Kong. And this qualification is accepted by the Department of Health and Hospital Authority. If you get this, you're also eligible to able to apply for accredited dietitian with the Hong Kong Academy of Accredited Dietitians, which is actually the equivalent of a Hong Kong registration body. Or you can apply for registration as a dietitian with the UK, with the Health and Care Professions Council. I do need to mention, however, that entry into these programs is highly competitive. Okay, so we do have a lot of students, many more than we have places for. And you're probably saying, well, if we've got lots of students, why do we take so few? And the reason is that because of the number of clinical places available in the second year of study is limited. Okay, so that's what limits us. So you can see actually that on this diagram, there's actually 2 MSc in Human Nutrition and MSc in Dietetics. So you can also choose, after doing your PGD in Human Nutrition, to conduct a project, and then you can be awarded an MSc in Human Nutrition, or you can do it later. You do your dietetics, and then you actually do the project, and then you can be awarded an MSc in Dietetics. So if you like to think about it, it is one program with 4 exit points. But the first entry point is everybody has to start in the human nutrition. Make sense? Okay. All right, so I'm not going to talk a lot about it, mainly because we are going to have an intake this year. We don't offer the program every year. The reason because we actually take one intake in, and then the whole cohort graduates before we start the next cohort. Because it's quite intensive course. But so in November of this year, we'll be starting the next intake of the PGD in human nutrition. So we have arranged an information seminar, which is going to be on the 1st of July. And during that information seminar, I will share with you much more detail about what the course involves. Because of the nature of COVID restrictions and things, we'll be offering the information seminar both face-to-face as well as using a live Zoom because of venue problems. So if you're interested, please use the QR code and register for that, and we will share more information in detail about the postgraduate diploma in human nutrition later on. Okay, so basically we've gone through all the programs related to food and nutrition that we offer by our area. Just to give you an idea of sort of deadlines and when you might want to apply for. If you can see, I've actually highlighted the star there, which is the Advanced Certificate in Nutrition. Remember, that was the program I mentioned as the first entry point. Yeah. So if you're not even really sure this is what you want to do, I would encourage you to do Advanced Certificate in Nutrition first, because the information that you learn will be useful for your daily life, but also test you whether you really want to continue to study. So we have an intake starting in July. So I have just extended the deadline for applications to enable people who are attending this seminar today to be able to apply. So if you're interested, please put your application in as soon as possible, because we are starting on the 12th of July. As you can see, the other advanced certificate programs, we have the clinical, the sport, and food service also starting in July as well. And obviously the degree program starting in October. For the postgraduate certificate in community nutrition, we'll be offering that at the end of the year. I just want to mention as well, because Cami did mention that the postgraduate certificate program, this is for graduates who have a degree in food and nutrition already. It's a CEF reimbursable program. So you can see that we actually have a couple of courses that are CEF reimbursable, so it doesn't become such a difficult thing from a financial point of view. Okay, so we have set up a Facebook page and an IG page. So if you want to keep in touch, learn more about what we're up to, then I would encourage you to join our Facebook page and our IG page. And so the QR codes are there. So I think this is the time where we would now like to open for Q&A. So perhaps I pass the mic to Gigi. Actually, does anybody in the room have any questions they would like to ask? Because we have a live audience.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in either English or Cantonese.
No.
如果我 degree in other discipline 嘅話咧，我可唔可以直接 go through 去？即係譬如你話我讀完嗰堆 certificate 之後，就直接 go jump to final year of food and nutrition 嗰個位。咁如果我想 skip 咗即係我唔想讀咁多嗰堆 module， 咁我想直接上去得唔得咧？即係可唔可以淨係我一定要咁樣拆開嚟讀咧？呢個第一個問題啦。第二個問題，我想問，如果讀嗰個final year degree 嗰個 food nutrition 啦，咁我哋會唔會有 placement？ 即係我見到你哋即係都有講好多 career advice 咁樣，因為我自己之前就讀酒店就有 placement 嘅喺個 degree 裏面。咁你哋會唔會話有 partnership with 譬如香港一啲嘅我唔知，即係可能 quality control 即係美心啊，或者可能係同一啲營養嘅乜營養中心會有 partnership， 可以譬如可能 offer 到一啲譬如 few weeks 嘅placement 俾 students， 即係我哋可以 more in depth 去做一啲 practical 嘅 section 啊咁樣咁樣，因為我見到你哋有 site visit 啊嗰啲嘢。咁係咁第三咧我想問咁啱啱我見到你哋讀完嗰個nutrition 嗰個science 啦，咁見到之後你哋 more focus on 有 food exercise 同埋。唔係 sorry exercise 嗰個嘅 nutrition 同埋有嗰個 diabetes 嗰個course 啦。咁如果我 interest in more 係小朋友嘅，你哋會唔會有其他 postgrad 嘅 course 或者 cert 可以即係 offer 到？或者你哋會唔會話因為我見到而家 existing look like 冇啦，會唔會話都 look into 呢一個呢啲 course 咧咁樣？另外我想問咧你哋啱啱 mention 到有一個 postgrad 嘅 community postgrad 嘅 cert。 我想知多少少嗰個 community 嘅意思係即係我見到譬如讀完 food nutrition 好大嘅範圍啦，即係大家會可能 focus 老人嘅 nutrition，啱啱 exercise 嘅 sports 嘅咁樣，我哋即係有講小朋友。咁 community 其實係我想知多少少關於係 focus on 啲乜嘢咧？最後我啱啱睇到個 student 個唔好意思好多問題對唔住啊，啱啱我睇到有個
Perhaps we answer some of your questions first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then because we'll forget the questions, and then you can keep asking. But you've asked some really good questions. But let's just answer some of them first, so that we make sure we answer all your questions. Do you mind if I answer in English? Yeah. Okay. So your first question is: you've got a degree, and you want to do the BSc. Yeah, but you want to do it without taking the advanced certificate courses. Really depends on your background. Okay. So, but it's unlikely. Because if you remember, we've already told you that this is the final year of the degree. So if you haven't taken those advanced certificate programs, you haven't done year 1, year 2. And if you've done those, then you already have a degree in nutrition, in which case you don't need to do the degree. Exactly, of the degree program in food and nutrition. So that's one thing. The exact courses that you need to take will vary on your own circumstances. So if you really want to know, you can send us your transcript of your degree of what you've done already, and we will let you know which certificate programs that you need to take. Because, for example, I've already done biochemistry, then you don't have to do it. Yeah. So that background is different. In terms of the placement situation, the degree program, we do visits and things, but they don't offer a structured placement. So that's why we have developed the postgraduate certificate in community nutrition, which offers a placement component. It's in the community to give you some experience of applying the stuff that you've learned in the degree program. In places like, for example, elderly centres, actually sometimes in schools, sometimes in clinics. So that is a practicum there, and you actually get an advanced a postgraduate certificate for that. Okay, so that's quite separate. But yes, the degree program doesn't contain that component exactly. That's why we developed the postgrad cert. Okay. Okay, yes. So if you've got an interest in child nutrition, we don't offer any postgrad course in child nutrition at this stage, but if you've got interest in child, we do have the advanced certificate in child and adolescent nutrition. So for some people who have a degree and they want to get into the BSc program, for some of you, you will have an option of choosing either the child or the clinical. So if the child is your interest, then you choose the child. Yeah? Does that answer that question? Yeah? Okay, all right. Okay, so we answer one more because we have a lot of questions online. So just one more question from you.
Hello, thank you very much for your talk. I'm interested in the postgraduate certificate in dietetics. I know that
That's a diploma.
Oh, sorry, it's a postgraduate diploma.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I know that there is a selection process for the second block. Could you kindly advise us on the selection process and how many places you have for the clinical attachment, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
A very popular question. I saw a few of them online. Okay, so yes, we are opening this year our program for the dietetics program. So entry is firstly into the PGD Human Nutrition. Already that is very competitive. So entry into the PGD in nutrition we will look at academic first. Okay, so we have to be objective. The other thing we will look at is that all students will have to provide us with a statement, a written statement of why they want to do the program, and then students will be selected for interview. Okay, so there will be an interview. You need to write a statement, and we'll look at academic status to get into human nutrition. Okay, so once you got into human nutrition, then you indicate to us whether you plan to do dietetics later or you just want to go into human nutrition, because we do have some students just interested in human nutrition. Fine. If you've indicated to us that you're interested into furthering your studies later into the dietetics program, then what we will do is you'll be put in the pool that will be for selection. So how do we select from going human nutrition into the dietetics? Once again, academic. But academic also with an interview. Okay, but the ratio of academic to in the interview is big. In the first one, it's more academic, but in the second one, it's about, well, I can't say 50-50, but we will look very, very strongly on your aptitude to become a dietitian. Okay, for both of those, we would look at things like not only just academic, and how you answer the questions, but also your experience to show us how much you understand what dietitian does. What they really, do you have a really good understanding? Because there's nothing worse than taking on a student who has no idea what dietitians do, and then find that's not what they want to do, and then we've wasted a place. So we would like you to show us that maybe you've got some experience or you've looked at it. It doesn't have to be paid experience. It doesn't have to be long experience, but just to show us your keenness to go on and do dietetics. Yeah? Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Let's address some questions online first. So the first question, will the course advanced certificates in nutrition be online or in person?
Yes, due to the current COVID unsettled situation, the advanced certificate in nutrition for the next intake will be hybrid. However, some things will be face-to-face. So, for example, the clinic visits, the laboratory, the computer laboratory, we can't do that online. So there will be certain aspects that you need to come in for. The exams will also definitely be face-to-face. Okay, but for the general lectures, yes, they will be hybrid. So we'll be doing Zoom as well as face-to-face.
Okay. Second question, how often would the exams if I am taking the advanced certificate?
Okay, so it depends on which advanced certificate. If it's advanced certificate in nutrition, actually there's 3 modules. So there is an online exam for module 1, and for module 2 and 3, there are an exam in each one. However, the module 2 and 3 exam are held on the same time. Okay, for the other programs, they're pretty similar. Yeah.
Which specific job experience has a higher chance to get success application for PGD in human nutrition dietetics?
Job experience, well, obviously, if you want to become a dietitian, then you won't have experience of being a dietitian because you haven't got the job yet. But we would think something like related to. So it doesn't have to be paid, as I said, but somewhere you might be volunteering in a dietitian's office, volunteering in a dietetic department, working with a nutritionist, doing some activities, that sort of thing. So there's no one safe or fast rule. Just that you can demonstrate you understand what dietitians do, and that's what you really want to do.
Do you need to register to an official body to work as a nutritionist in Hong Kong?
Okay, in Hong Kong, at the moment, there is no official registration for nutritionists at the moment. I do believe the Hong Kong Nutritionist Society are working on that. But there's no official registration body at the moment.
How many offers would be given for PG Cert Community Nutrition and the postgraduate diploma in dietetics?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to answer your question about how many places. Yeah, now I just remembered. So for this current cohort that's coming up, we have been advised by Hospital Authority that we have 32 places for PGD in dietetics. Okay, so what we will do is we will take 42 students who have indicated they want to go to dietetics in human nutrition. Okay, so 42 going down to 32. The reason why you say, oh, we're taking so many more than we have places for is because every year we do have people who change their mind, drop out, things happen. So because places are so valuable to us, we have to make sure that we don't waste any places. And for PG, the PG Cert in Community Nutrition, at the moment we can take 16 places a year. At the moment, I'm looking at seeing if we can increase it. But also, once again, because placements are so intensive, the number of spaces that we have available are limited as well.
Is it recommended to take chemistry or biology when I'm studying high school before applying food and nutrition undergraduate degree? Yes, you are required to study chemistry and biology when you plan to study a degree in food and nutrition. The next one, does the advanced cert in nutrition open for application every year? Say if I cannot make it this July.
Yes, we offer this program twice a year. So there's an intake every January and an intake every July.
Also for the advanced certificates in nutrition, would it be possible to claim the education fund?
Unfortunately, this is not a CNF CEF reimbursable program. However, there are a number of other certs which we indicated on the diagram, which is.
If I have already got a nursing degree, do I have to start from taking advanced certificates in nutrition and so on to get access to the BSc Food and Nutrition and further to PGD? Usually, for degree holders in other disciplines, we recommend students to send your transcript to the program team so we can give you individual advice what advanced certificates or bridging courses required to get into the BSc. So if you are in doubt, please feel free to send your transcript to the program team and then we will give you advice. But in general, for a degree in nursing, usually you would need to take some bridging courses in nutrition and also food science before you can get into the BSc program. And the next question, when will be the next intake of PGD in nutrition, as I'm still having bridging course this year?
The next intake will be for November of this year.
What's the percentage of PGD nutrition student entering into PGD dietetics program?
Well, I answered that already. So we will take 42 into human nutrition, knowing that we have 32 places in dietetics, which is actually the same for the last two cohorts, just for interest.
For a degree holder of chemistry and those who are interested in sport and exercise nutrition, advanced certificates or MSc programs should be chosen.
So if interested in sport and exercise nutrition, I think it would be good to have a degree in biological science as a entry requirement, but we will look at the transcript that if any bridging course will be needed. And so if you are really interested in sports and enthusiastic into sport and exercise nutrition, and I believe advanced certificate will be a course to start with, and Master of Science in program will be the next level to be to gain the registration in the UK.
Just some supplementary information. So if you are a degree in holder in chemistry, but you do not have any background in nutrition, then you are advised to take the advanced certificate in nutrition and then the advanced certificate in sport and exercise nutrition. Otherwise, you will find it very difficult to understand all the food and nutrition related knowledge. And also to apply for the MSc Sport and Exercise Nutrition, you need to have a degree related to nutrition. So if you are really only a degree holder in chemistry, we would advise you to start with the advanced certificate in nutrition and then proceed to the advanced certificate in sport and exercise nutrition. Then the next question, how may potential candidate be accredited as a registered dietitian in PGD in dietetics?
So if you graduate with a PGD in dietetics from Hong Kong U Space, which we offer in collaboration with Ulster University, you are actually eligible to directly apply to the Hong Kong Academy of Accredited Dietitians for accredited dietitian status. So from an academic point of view, you obviously meet the entry requirement, full stop. However, obviously, because it's the registration body, it's the same in the UK. You do need to demonstrate that you have no criminal record, which is a thing of requirement for working practicing as a healthcare worker. So that's both in the UK as well as in Hong Kong. And you also need to do things like obtain professional indemnity insurance and things like that. But in terms of academic qualification, it's direct entry.
Okay, next question. May I apply PGD Human Nutrition if I hold a nursing degree and complete the Advanced Cert of Nutrition and Health Promotion?
Okay, I haven't seen your transcript, so it's really hard to say straight off, but probably not, because it depends on your nursing degree, what you've done. From experience, a lot of nursing degrees haven't done enough biochemistry and physiology to meet the requirements for the PGD. So please, once again, just send us your transcript and we'll advise you accordingly.
If I want to take the higher diploma in nutrition and food management, do I also need to take 4 courses of advanced certificates or as a degree holder in other discipline?
No. If you would like to apply higher diploma, then basically we will look at, if you're a mature student, we will look at your working experience. And if you got a DSE result, we also will look at them.
With BSc in Food Science and Technology, it is able to apply for PGD Human Nutrition?
Once again, because there's great variation in degrees in food science, it really depends if you've done a lot of food science degrees don't have the physiology and also some background nutrition. So once again, you have to send us your transcript before I can reply.
I know biochemistry is the most difficult module. Any tips or preparation I can study well for this subject? So if you are going to study biochemistry, definitely you need to have a background in science, including biology and chemistry. And to study well in biochemistry, you really have to study by your heart, because this is a really difficult and challenging module or subject, and we recommend you to look at the reference book that we suggest you to read, and also pay full attention when you attend classes.
So you have to memorize, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's very Hong Kong style.
There was no schedule of advanced certificates of child and adolescent nutrition.
Okay, so the next intake for the advanced certificate in child and adolescent nutrition is January of next year. So every January we offer the advanced certificate in child. It wasn't on the table because too many courses.
Okay. For PGD Human Nutrition, should I know how many space for Hong Kong U-based students?
Okay, so that's a fair enough question, but we actually don't allocate specific places for specific universities or specific graduates. We cannot do that. Everybody just applies as a pool, and we would select accordingly. You can say it's not favoritism.
Hi, I'm studying a degree right now and will graduate in October this year. Can I apply the advanced certificate in nutrition in this July?
The advanced certificate in nutrition is actually offered part-time, so I suppose if your studies enable you to do that, it should be okay. Because the advanced certificate in nutrition is actually part-time, 2 evenings a week and occasional Saturdays.
For those finished the PG Cert Community Nutrition but cannot access to PGD Dietetics, can they apply the PGD Dietetics program again, or any details for this case?
Okay, if you already hold a postgraduate certificate in community nutrition, you still already have a degree in food nutrition because that's an entry requirement. So yes, if you didn't, you still have to do human nutrition. So if you've done the postgraduate certificate in community nutrition, you still need the PGD in human nutrition before you can go to dietetics. Okay? If you weren't successful last year, yes, by all means apply again this year. If you're not successful this year, you can apply the next time.
Yeah. So we have addressed all the questions online. Do you have any questions in the classroom from the audience here?
It seems that there are two main streams. One is the major, one is a human nutrition versus the dietetics. What's the major difference between the two? Since I heard many different programs about them.
Okay, so actually the PGD Human Nutrition and Dietetics is actually one group of programs. So they're one program with 4 exit points. So anybody, if you're interested in nutrition, you have a degree in food and nutrition already, you want to further your study, then you can do the postgraduate diploma in human nutrition. This is a 7-module program offered part-time, okay? And you can choose to finish there and get a postgraduate diploma in human nutrition, or take up undertake a nutrition project and be awarded an MSc in human nutrition. So this might be for somebody who's sort of more interested in the research side of nutrition, that kind of thing. For a lot of people, they want to go on to do dietetics, and that's the second career option. And so dietitians are the people who I mentioned before. They work in hospitals, and we do a lot of clinical work. So, and the main difference is that actually is the practicum, is the 28 weeks of clinical placement coming up. Does that answer your question? sort of.
There is some other questions online. When start to apply PGD dietetics?
Okay, so the applications will be open on the day. We should open them by the time we have the information seminar. So we're still working on the website background. So it will be coming up soon.
For those who could not get placement offer in PGD dietetics, could they apply for placement directly in the next cohort, or they need to complete the whole program again?
Very good question. And unfortunately, we take 42 students into human nutrition. We have 32 places. If you don't get into dietetics in your cohort year, you unfortunately have to repeat the whole program again, because it's not fair on the other people competing. So, for example, I have 42 coming in this year, 32 places. If I have 10 left over from the last cohort, then they're competing with you. It's not really fair, right? So you have to do the course again, unfortunately, unless we have additional places, which is very rare.
How good is the Space Food and Nutrition degree for success apply of the PGD Human Nutrition?
Well, for the last cohort, it was quite good, actually, but it varies because of, it varies from cohort to cohort, and it really depends on the individual. So I think last year we had how many? 6? Yeah, around 6 students from the BSc, Hong Kong U Space get into.
6 out of 42?
Yeah, 6 out of 42, yeah. Because it's such a competitive program, we do have people who apply from overseas to come into the human nutrition and dietetics. So they've done their degree in the UK, Canada, Australia, and they want to come back and do the dietetics here. Okay, I do need to also mention for the dietetics, you do need to be able to speak Cantonese because the placements take place in hospital authority hospitals.
Do students need to have first-class honors before they can get into PGD dietetics?
It's a 2, 1 and above.
So we don't have any more questions from online, and are the students in the classroom also clear or have very clear idea about the pathway or the programs offered in Hong Kong U Space? So if you have no more questions, then thank you very much for your time joining the information seminar today. And that's the end for the sharing. And we would like to see you.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, hope to see you soon in our programs.
Yes.